Hello everyone, you're on the ConMade channel. Today I'm going to smash this UAZ Patriot, which I made out of clay, and do a kind of crash test. But before that, I'll tell you more about this UAZ. So this UAZ made out of clay, I sculpted it using sculptural, hard and very hard NSP clay. The model is very well detailed. It has elements like the interior, the engine, and I even highlighted the underbody. By the way, the suspension works and the wheels can spin. The model is made of clay plates, so the thickness, for example, of the door is just 1 mm, and the same goes for the hood and other body parts. And the thinner I make the clay, the more realistic the car's damage will look. I also tightly attached foil to the clay body parts. It gives the clay strength and helps it keep the right shape. For example, with the roof, if I hadn't put foil on the clay, it would have sagged. The same goes for the hood. The foil also creates more realistic dents during collisions. That's why I do crash tests. All of this turns out more or less realistic, and in my opinion, it's really interesting to watch. Also, these body parts are held on a frame made of thin strips of plasticine. The frame, although it looks very simple in shape, is enough for plasticine. Typically, you can't break a car like this if it's made of metal or plastic at this scale. Besides, why would you even need to do that? It's true, it won't break, but the plasticine will bend a lot. I crash handmade plasticine cars just to entertain you. And I see that you really enjoy it, so I keep doing it. I hope you'll support this video with a like. Before we start the crash test, let me show you how I accidentally hit the back of the UAZ. I was checking if the Cybertruck worked and how it would drive, but I didn't notice the UAZ was in the way, and they collided. But it's not an issue, nothing major occurred. I'm going to crash the UAZ directly into the pole. Similar to what you might have seen with Academic, I need to accelerate the UAZ along the lane I created, so it collides with the pole at the end. It's made of pencils covered with modeling clay on top. It's fixed very securely so it will withstand the impacts. I created this kind of testing ground and a lane for accelerating the UAZ. It will be accelerated by a Cybertruck on remote control. By the way, its body is also made of modeling clay. On the sides it has wire guides so it goes straight and can reach maximum speed to accelerate the UAZ. I tied 3 threads to the Cybertruck to limit its acceleration and tied the other ends of the threads to a chair leg. So it turns out that it will accelerate the UAZ up to a certain point and then stop abruptly, while the UAZ will keep moving quickly toward the pole and crash into it. That's my principle. First, there will be a head-on collision. We'll see what happens to the front part, how much it bends, and then we'll move on to side collisions. Well, then we'll see what's left of it and how. For example, you can see what might happen in BMNG Drive. The first collision was very weak. That's because UAZ can't drive straight. To be continued. That's why I decided to start it by hand, and as we can see, it's much more effective. There was much more damage from the second impact. The UAZ hit the paint line, barely touching the pole, and as we can see, the damage is quite serious. The wheel got badly dented, as well as the fender flare. It looked pretty impressive, so I'll keep launching it by hand. This collision was a bit stronger. The left side got bent, the paint even cracked a little, and it slightly touched the hood. I think it got bent. That's pretty realistic. Well, now I'll try to hit it right in the center of the front part. I didn't expect that. That was a really beautiful collision. Just look at how everything got bent here. The impact hit right on the rear door. From above, you can see how badly the pole damaged the door. The dent turned out, I think, realistic. It even affected the rear arch. It's already come off. But what about underneath? Of course, it didn't reach the frame here, but I made it incorrectly. It's still too narrow, but the dent turned out very serious. Hand acceleration gives a lot of speed and damage, and inside the cabin the door panel came off here, and the front seat shifted a bit. That was really epic just now. The UAZ did a somersault. I pushed it much harder and it lifted up, crashed into the same spot on the left side, and everything got bent even more. As expected, the hood flew off. Viewed from the side, it appears quite odd. It turned out pretty interesting. It almost even reached the engine. Yeah, that turned out pretty rough, of course. I just can't manage to launch it with the front part. It keeps spinning around. So the last hit landed on the right side, the hood got a bit bent, there was another hit to the front wheel, and because of that, the roof pillar got bent, it even came off the body here. It's barely holding on now. From the front, you can see how this roof pillar is bent, and the glass is barely being held by anything now. I believe it will soon completely fall off. Since the wheels can't spin anymore, I stuck some foil on them to make it slide better, and now I'm going to send it sideways into the pole. This collision hit the rear door again. The wheel got pretty badly bent. The rocker panel has also detached. It wasn't a strong hit. I'll try to push it again. This time the hit was right in the rear, and because of that, the door bent even more. It's especially noticeable from above. What kind of zigzag do we get here? The gap at the threshold has become even bigger. You can even look through it into the cabin to see what's inside. Well, and underneath, it's a complete mess here, isn't it? How did it get so twisted from all these impacts? Brutal. Whoa, that was a hard hit right in the front door. Now it's really bent. With every hit, of course, it loses strength and falls apart, but still, that was really powerful. The threshold gap widened further, leaving virtually no undamaged area on the UAZ. Now I hit it really hard, so much that the door tore apart and the central pillar too. The car is now barely holding together. The impact nearly reached the cabin's middle. Inside, the seats have detached. I'm looking. Actually, no, from below you can see that it didn't reach the middle, just up to the tanks. And let's launch it one last time, even stronger this time. This will be the final round, so to speak. Well, that's it. There's not a single intact spot left. I threw it so hard that it even hit the front part of the roof. That was one of the most epic crash tests. It was really spectacular. At least the engine is still intact. It can be used in another model, for example, but otherwise, of course, it's completely destroyed. And this is what's left of it. In conclusion, I'll say that launching the car by hand is much more effective, you get a lot more speed, but at the same time, the collision point is random since it's hard to push it exactly the way you want. Out of all the collisions, I never managed to hit it with the front part. Since this method is so effective, I'll keep using it. What do you think about it? What do you think about this way of colliding cars? About the damage, I'll say that it was quite realistic. There were dents, cracks, chipped paint, and scratches too. The foil-covered, modeling clay dents, realistically, looking spectacular. Since the UAZ is wrecked, it will be stored on the shelf with other broken clay cars. Well, in the next video, I'll crash this Toyota AE86. And to make sure you don't miss that video, subscribe to the channel and also hit the bell so you don't miss notifications about new videos. That's all for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you all for watching. Goodbye, everyone.